Wait, I've said this? What?
You have. On stream. You said, so like, you know about,
Stop. In
like
an electric guitar, you're
sit-ups
not going to have
already.
any of this, right? You're just
You're
picking...
wrong. You're wrong.
Really?
You're wrong. You're wrong. You said that lo-fi hip-hop specifically is kind of rotting people's brains and kind of cutting them off from maybe exploring.
I can't... Margarita pizzas, dude. This is a good meal.
Hey.
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so it can be a quick call. I have a hot take to disagree with.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so you mentioned on stream about fast food.
Okay.
That you said fast food is approximately, give or take, the same price as anywhere else you'd eat. So you go and get combo meal or whatever, you get a sandwich for $6, adds up to basically the same amount.
Wait, I've said this? What?
You have. On stream, you said fast food is dumb because it ends up adding up to the same price.
I'd say a medium supreme pizza is the best.
It's just out of convenience.
Same price as what?
As if you went out to a normal meal for like $12 or $14.
I might have been talking in context of doing like Uber Eats, maybe?
Oh, okay.
Or DoorDash, because I complain a lot about how expensive DoorDash is. Because for DoorDash, if I order like a Chipotle meal, like for me and Melina, I feel like by the end of like the tip and the delivery fee and everything, I paid like $55 or whatever for like 2 normal meals and like 2 drinks. And like at that point, we should just went to eat at like fucking Applebee's or something. That might have been what I was talking about.
And then I agree with this.
Okay.
Okay, hot take averted.
Okay.
Okay, so basically, just came on to talk about, I'm a music therapy student at Berklee College of Music.
Holy shit. Okay.
I'm in my 4th semester, and I think that music therapy has some applications for not only the Twitch community, but online community in general, and since it's so new, I don't think that people are talking about it.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so do you want like a breakdown? What are you looking for?
I don't
what could
even
I
know
give
what
to you
music therapy means, so...
Okay, so music therapy, I guess boring definition is music therapy is the clinical use for music, has to be done by somebody who's certified by the Board of Music Therapy, and it can take a lot of different paths.
Are you certified?
I'm not certified yet. I still have to go through all my school, and then I have to do an internship, and then I have to take some sort of test.
Gotcha, okay.
So basically, music therapy occurs in 4 different paths. It's improvisational, receptive, compositional, and I'm forgetting one.
Oh shit! Oh no!
They're gonna take my certification away as soon as I get it.
Well, this is why you don't.
Anyways,
have it
it's.
Wait, what is receptive?
But all of them are. Receptive is just listening, so it's not actually made by the music therapist. You just listen to music. So this can involve stuff like song lyric discussions, or especially really good with Alzheimer patients. If you play them the original recordings of music that they're familiar with, it actually starts jogging back memories that are really hard to unlock otherwise.
Okay, sick. I've done a lot of music therapy in Elden Ring, but okay, go ahead.
And that's actually super true for clients that are around the age of 20 to 30. Mm-hmm. We actually see a lot of video game music being applied just because the connections with that from childhood are so strong. Even if you end up developing a lot of mental issues into your teenage years and into your 20s, that kind of stuff can still jog a lot of memories because it's so part of your formative years. It's around the time of about 14 to about 18 that kind of music ends up being the most important for memory.
Gotcha. I think I saw a psych study about this. It had to do with like music that we listened to during our teenage years. We end up being like very receptive to those genres, just because we listen to them in that years of our life. But that's not really
absolutely.
Related to the Alzheimer's thing. But okay, go ahead.
Another hot take that I had that I wanted to argue with. You argued with a music person recently on stream.
Oh boy.
And you had some comments about Jacob Collier, which I think people at Berklee suck his dick a little bit too much, and I don't do that.
Okay.
But you argued that having a favorite key was dumb.
Okay. Kind of. Wait,
okay, let me hear the explanation.
What instrument do you play?
I play lots of instruments. I started on piano.
Oh, yeah, okay, because you go to Berklee. I gotcha. All right. I don't believe intrinsically. There are 2 examples, okay, if we want to really dig into it, where I could see having a favorite key, okay?
Sure.
One is there might be a key that you like to play in more because your particular instrument, I don't know what it is, but like, for instance, if we say like piano, you play piano, right?
Yeah.
Your fingers, I'm guessing, this might just be because I'm a shitty musician, okay? So maybe it's different for you. Maybe you don't think about this at all. But for me, if you tell me to improv something over like in the key of F versus the key of like A flat, I'm probably going to play something different, even if it's the same chord progression.
Absolutely. The shape is different.
Yeah, the shape is different. The shape of your fingers is different. And like where your fingers fall, just like it tends to be a little bit different for whatever reason. It just is.
Sure. So that's one.
Yeah, that's probably true. So that's one. The second part where keys might matter, if you want to be a hardcore composition nerd, you might know that certain instruments tend to perform better in certain registers or have some notes that are good or some notes that are bad or some partials that are difficult or some that are easy. So maybe like a certain sonata or a certain like song or whatever, orchestra or whatever, performed in a certain key might be like really rough for like French horns at a certain part or really ugly or nasty. So for there, I can understand like, okay, the key's more, or like for range for a vocalist. Those are like the two cases where I can see somebody like, oh yeah, like the key is pretty important here. But when you're saying shit like, I think D major just sounds so much better than like C sharp major, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. I don't believe it. Okay. Don't believe it.
So
if your answer has perfect pitch in it, also go fuck yourself. But go ahead.
Okay, it doesn't.
Good. Okay.
So E tends to be the brightest, and
I don't
I'm
agree.
Ready to back
Why?
Up. Okay, because you're losing the plot. You're losing the plot. How people pick up instruments, they pick them up, and they have common things, and people listen to instruments, some more common than others. The main instrument that a lot of people get exposed to first is guitar.
Okay.
And guitar is an E-based instrument. You learn everything in E, and because they're open chords are always brighter.
Hold on.
People get...
Why is an open chord brighter? Explain that to me.
Because it uses the open strings. So the open strings on guitar, if any of those are used in a chord, it's called an open chord.
Why? But no, wait. I know what an open chord is, and I know what you mean when you tell me it's an open string. But when you're playing on frets, all you're effectively doing is shortening the length of the chord, the length of the string. Why would it be brighter?
Well, because of sympathetic resonation. So, like, about...
Stop. In an electric guitar, you're not going to have any of this, right? You're
wrong. You're wrong.
Really?
You're wrong. Electric and acoustic. When you're tuning up, once you start tuning to the right notes, you'll hear the rest of the guitar start to buzz. And if you touch the strings, it'll stop.
Okay.
Other strings.
Okay,
right.
wait,
so
but that's sympathetic, Okay, hold on. Okay.
Go for it.
In the most hyper autistic sense, you are probably correct. Because if you're putting your fingers down over the frets of some strings, unless you're using a clip...
darker, they're muted. They're muted more because your fingers are fleshy and soft. But not only that...
Well, no, hold on. That's not true. Your fingers being fleshy and soft doesn't matter because when you push the string down, it's supposed to be going over the fret, right? Which is hard, right?
Sure, but you have a touch when you're sliding, when you're moving from note to note. There's a touch in your left hand that's really important. Sure, most of it is from your right hand. Like if you play with a pick versus if you play with the fleshy part of your hand, obviously that's going to have the most impact.
Sure.
But you're sliding from note to note, it's a lot of your left hand.
Sure. I can maybe buy that there is going to be some resonation of the other strings. Physics would dictate that to be true. Is this actually dictating... is this like an observable sound that people will key in on? I'm not sure about that one, but...
I think it is, and
I'll give you
it goes.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
No, I was gonna say I'll give you the first part of this, but go ahead. That it is a phenomenon that happens. Obviously, I have to say that, but do people notice that? Oh, I don't know, but okay, go ahead.
Sure, and then the other one is for the voice, which I think is even more common than guitar for people starting music.
Okay.
The way that the voice is laid out for the lowest part, which is usually bass, the average bass can go down to E 2 octaves below middle C. That's the definition of a bass is probably E there to probably about middle C. On the high end.
Okay.
And that's for basses. And then for tenors, you step up and you have around an A as your low, and then you go up to E or to A above middle C. All of these notes are in E. So E tends to be the brightest because it's how we associate.
Why would that make it bright?
It makes it bright because going up and down on the top of your range as where you're strongest is where you can usually be loudest. And that ends up getting brighter. So for shaping vocal, to get up to the top of your range, you've got to open up your mouth more, let more air in. It's a much brighter sound just to be able to reach those notes.
Okay, wait, hold on. Let me ask. Okay, this might be we're gonna reveal all of ourselves, be full of shit here, or maybe not. When I say like bright or dark, what does that mean to you in terms of like sound, like acoustically?
So acoustically, I think that we tend to associate this just with like high-end frequencies.
We can, yeah. That's a mistake, but some people do, yeah.
Sure. I think that the way that humans will, like, if you ask a non-musician what would make something bright, it's usually timbre.
Sure,
I think
like,
is the most common for timbre.
The timbre.
I think that it's indirectly how much of the main frequencies that we're hearing are occupied by the high end.
Okay, that part that you just said, I think I believe, right? So if I go like, if I hyper exaggerate and I think of like what is a warm sound or a dark sound, do you know like what lo-fi hip hop is?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say this is like a very warm, you could even say derogatorily, like muddy, right? Very muted on the high
end. Humbuckers on guitar.
Super
like
warm tone.
The whirly keys, all of it, yeah.
Sure, and then brighter sounds tend to be described as more cold, sharper, shrill or yellow, maybe if we use negative terms. Yeah, sure, okay. I don't see why a particular note or key would have, because I agree with what you just said. You said people tend to describe dark or light sounds in terms of timbre, but timbre is independent of pitch, right? Whereas when we say that like E is a bright key, we're only talking about pitch there. But like if I were to play that on like a classical saxophone on my reference 54 versus like some black lacquered like jazz saxophone with a metal mouthpiece, right? I could play the exact same key. One is going to sound very warm and the other is going to sound very bright. But I don't know how do you get warmth or coldness from pitch? Yeah, go.
You said timbre is divorced from pitch. They're unrelated. But I think that that's only true when you're thinking of music theoretically, like using sine waves or stuff like that.
Sure.
But when you get down to instruments, like you were saying, so between two saxophones, sure, it's going to sound different. But just the fact that it's a saxophone will make certain notes, like whatever the highest note on your saxophone is without going into altissimo, is going to sound a certain way, and you can't really stop it. So if you look at instruments that are most common, I think guitar and voice, E tends to be a really bright key just for those instruments. And I think that since those are so common, people will entrain to that. And as my second thing, I think that historically, just because the circle of fifths says that E is one of the brightest keys, I think that composers have composed bright. I think that composers have composed bright sounding stuff in relation to that. In the same way that
how does a circle of fourths or circle of fifths say that E is the brightest key? Why?
I'm not actually sure.
I don't agree with that, but okay. I wish we could double blind test this shit. I don't know, but okay.
I actually would like to. I'm taking a music psych class right now. Maybe I'll do that for a project.
Okay, good, do it. Yeah, prove it. Or
okay, let me see what else I can.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, let me see what else I can yell at you for.
Yeah, go for
you said that lo-fi hip hop
no.
specifically is kind of rotting people's brains and kind of cutting them off from maybe exploring deeper. I don't want to say deeper.
Not rotting. I should be clear. Not rotting people's brains, rotting my brain. But okay.
Oh, so it's a specific relationship that you think you have with lo-fi hip hop?
It's not really just lo-fi hip hop, but really like sometimes you can get stuck in a genre of music, and then you like stop listening to new stuff because you only like listen to one genre. It's probably not good for your musical like growth or exploration, right?
I agree with that. You shouldn't just stick to one musical genre, but I also think that there's enough diversity in musical genres that if you really are delving deep enough into a musical genre, you can have way more musical knowledge and musical familiarity than somebody who explores really lightly a bunch of different genres.
Oh, yeah, that's probably true.
And I think that you started with Nujabes, right?
Nujabes.
For the lo-fi hip hop stuff?
Yeah, probably, yeah. I think everybody did, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really respect, like, I like a lot of the stuff that he does, so.
I think that, like,
let me see. I think
harmonically, though, actually, no, I think I would disagree with you. I think I would fight you. I think that certain genres, I think, can lend themselves to different types of sounds, but even if you, like, I think that harmonically, lo-fi hip-hop tends to be incredibly simple, right? We're like talking about like minor seventh and ninths and like major sevenths. Like this is like the vocabulary of lo-fi hip-hop is very, very, very small. So even if you listen to every lo-fi hip-hop song in the world, you're not going to get anywhere near like the amount of harmony and like giant steps is probably bigger than the entire genre of lo-fi hip-hop, I would say.
I understand, but I think that I think that it's emphasizing different musical things.
Yes,
so I think
agree,
that
for
while
sure.
for Giant Steps, it's all about, not all about, but mainly about exploring, okay, what if we're moving around in major thirds around the circle of fifths, and how can I keep this going and sound musical with this kind of harmony? But I think that for lo-fi hip-hop, people can tell when they really jive with a lo-fi hip-hop song, and I think it's down to things like time feel is really, really important for it. I think tastefulness, like I think that a big thing in the jazz community is if you're not hip. So you could be playing something that's just not hip and people won't connect with it. And in rap, that's probably corny.
Yeah,
like
but
call
okay.
Eminem corny.
So as much as I hate jazz, I have a slight jazz background. I know you've played
Sure.
some if you're at Berklee, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No,
Too
people
much.
will kill you if you would try to say that anything about lo-fi hip hop is hip for one huge reason, and one is because all the drums are tracked. So you've already completely like I think if you try to claim it can be hip, I think with tracked drums, I think they would kill you immediately. And secondly, because a lot of it's just sampled and looped, right? So where there's no way that you have any hip feeling there, no?
Sampled and looped, sure, but I mean, so sure. If you're talking about just a lo-fi loop that keeps repeating, sure. But I think that Nujabes and a lot of hip hop or lo-fi hip hop artists will do a lot more than that. They'll change to a lot of different sections. And I think that there's a lot of sample use that can be really hip that jazz musicians aren't even exploring. Like sample use in lo-fi hip hop can be such a powerful tool, whether it's just a vocal sample is really cool or musical samples that they can actually interpret. I think that that's a lane that you can go into lo-fi hip hop that's really hard to explore in like a live jazz.
Sure,
thing,
there can
unless
be
you're
some
using
things.
Drum
Yeah,
triggers.
sure. I mean, samples in general are going to be hard for jazz, probably, right? Yeah.
Sure. And would they argue with me for saying that lo-fi hip-hop is hip? I think sure, but I'd fight them on it because I think that there are just things that are explored in lo-fi hip-hop that you can't explore in jazz.
Gotcha. I guess
and
I mean,
vice
to be
versa.
clear, you're going to have a way better background than me on this. When I think of hip, I'm usually thinking of I'm thinking of rhythm is what I think of, or like an expression like, are you playing like in the pocket or not? Like, are you really listening to like the drummer and maybe the bass player?
Okay, I think we're just. I mean
okay.
a different thing.
Sorry. Okay, yeah. When I think of hip, that's usually what I'm thinking. That's why.
Sure.
When you say
Hip,
that, and then I think
think
of like programmed drums, I'm like, no way. But okay, I understand what you're saying now. Never mind. Okay.
I think imagine if you went on to like a bandstand and somebody plays like an exact Charlie Parker riff, and you're like, oh my god, okay, or they quote the melody exact. It's just like not hip is kind of corny.
Sure. Depending. Okay. Yeah.
And I think that like jazz heads tend to stay away from all of the new shit, especially at Berklee. I don't know if this is a thing.
No, that's definitely
but
a case, and it's very, very, very frustrating and fucking irritating, especially because it's fucking jazz. But I know what you mean, yeah.
Sure, but I mean, you see people like Adam Neely, and they're introducing a lot of jazz elements into lo-fi hip-hop, and I'd say it's more lo-fi hip-hop than jazz.
Sure. I wish I could find... It's funny because coming from that background, honest to God, like, lo-fi hip-hop, but with good players on it, I think would be my favorite genre of music, but it hasn't been invented yet. Nobody actually does it. But if I could get, like, a lo-fi, like Nujabes, fucking, like a guy, like, all of it to be played live, so not a looped thing, and then put some, like, really good players over it, I would love that. That would be so cool.
Sure,
like, I want Colin
Corey
Stetson
Henry ripping
on, like,
it.
a fucking Nujabes track or some shit would be awesome.
Yeah, like Chris Potter.
Yeah. If you want to be crazy, yeah, for sure, that would be sick as fuck. I would love that. But yeah, but people just don't do it for whatever reason. Yeah.
Well, I think that if you look for it, it's out there. I mean, Adam Neely is a good place to start, but I think that lots of, even if you just look at his associated channels, will have a lot of those lo-fi influences. Like Shub Saran is a great Indian artist, and he's got some of those. Where he's even got a lo-fi type track that's in 7. And so does Andrew Huang on YouTube. He's really good with that kind of stuff. He does a lot of the lo-fi stuff, but he uses like modular synthesis to get crazy sounds and stuff like that.
Okay.
And I think that kind of stuff is pushing into a lot of stuff that jazz heads are scared to do and will even, I think, negatively reinforce. If you show up to a jazz gig and you've got your Nord like set up with a bunch of pedals and crazy shit like that, people will look at you weird and maybe not play with you again.
Sure. Okay.
Let me see. Is there anything else I can pick your brain? Do you have any questions for me or about music therapy or anything like that?
Well, I mean, when I think of music therapy, it sounds like basically like holistic medicine. Like you're playing songs to like make people feel better. that sounds a little.
I agree. It is to an extent that, but I think that this actually, I think I accidentally stole this take from you, but it sets me apart from some of the music therapy. A lot of them disagree with me. I think that a lot of things that music therapy does can be also done with just like after school sports or after school activities. It's big about building like connections, being able to talk to people, instilling like teamwork or honestly just giving people like fun things to do to take their minds off things. I think that one of the most important things to be able to do that is after school activities. And I think that music therapy can be a good substitute or even a good thing to add on to those kinds of things. But I mean, doing sports, I think, gives a lot of the same stuff.
Okay, wait, what is music therapy? Sorry, let me ask that. I don't actually know technically.
Oh, sure. So music therapy, I guess it's hard to explain in like a sum up way, but it's music for clinical purposes.
Yeah, but like, give me like, what would a music therapy look like?
So you walk into either single, like one-on-one clients, or with a group. For instance, I'm doing a clinical practice right now at the Carter School in Boston, and it's basically a bunch of people with different kids with different types of learning disabilities or mental disabilities, and we'll start with a hello song, and we'll give them individual instruments to try and play along, and this helps stuff like motor skills because you'll be able to shake these instruments. People tend to have rhythm like ingrained in them, so it'll make it more rewarding to try and play along. And then sometimes we'll grab their hands and help them with it. And then we'll do a bunch of expectancy violations to try and see if we can get them to use speech to finish stuff. So we'll start playing a chord, we'll like end on the 5 chord,
and get them to sing like a major one after playing like a tritone or something, right?
Exactly, yeah, because people are they're itching on the inside. Even if they don't know about music, they're itching to resolve that 5 to 1. It's like something wired in your brain. Mm-hmm. So we can use these kinds of like musical tools to get whatever kind of clinical effect we want. So let's say that somebody has like really, really bad issues with walking. Okay. We can support them and maybe have them walk to a rhythm. And we can start on a slow rhythm, and then we can slowly speed up the rhythm. And this gives us like an actual timeline to see, okay, how are they improving on walking faster? We can measure this literally by BPM.
Okay.
So it gives us not only like some tools to help people, but also it gives us stuff to be able to record results in ways that you usually can't. Because a lot of this stuff tends to be like qualitative, where we're like, okay, it seems like he's getting better. He's been able to do some more stuff today. But when we get into BPM, like literal dividing time into counts, we can get a lot more specific with that kind of data.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense.
But honestly, it's a really new field. It's only really gotten big in the past maybe 5 years. So there's still a lot of work to be done, and like a lot of, I think we really only scratched the surface of what you can do with music therapy.
Okay, well, hey, listen. Is that like what you want to do for a job, or what's like your plan or goal?
Yeah, that's probably what I want to do for a job. Honestly, I think I started because I just wanted to do something with music that I didn't have to move to New York and pray or that. Yeah, or teaching. Yeah, sounds soul crushing a little bit too. So I just some musical thing that's not super luck based. So since music therapy is an expanding field, I'm pretty much guaranteed a job at some hospital.
Gotcha.
Did you have any other questions about Berklee in general or about music therapy?
No, I don't think so. What did you audition on to get to school, to go there?
I auditioned on voice, and actually the voice programs are really, really easy to get into. And I think it's where you see, so a lot of kids, especially music therapy, you'll see the kind of stereotype is like white girl that plays ukulele, kind of, and mainly sings,
and has
gets in through singing, something like that, and can't really read sheet music that well at all, but can sing okay and carry a tune. And then they get to music therapy where it's by requirement that you have to learn at least basic guitar, percussion, piano, and voice. Mm-hmm. So they'll end up coming in with really no knowledge at all and starting from square zero, just because the vocal program is so easy to get into. Honestly, I think you could probably get into the Berklee vocal program if you tried.
Jesus.
They'd be impressed.
Are they giving like sight singing tests and shit, or?
Yeah, they do. But so I actually went in not knowing how to read sheet music, and I left the sight singing blank. Isn't that fucking crazy?
Yeah, a little bit.
I left it blank, and they got in. Well, I played piano and accompanied myself for my song. I think it gave me maybe bonus points.
You played piano and you didn't know how to read sheet music?
I read guitar. You can look up like Ultimate Guitar Tab, not tabs, but it tells you the chord name in line with the lyrics. So it'll be like A minor 7. I'll play the A, C, E, G.
Jesus.
But I can't read it off of actual sheet music.
Okay.
But it's a pretty common thing that you see, that singers will be shit at everything sheet music related, and they'll come in from square zero.
That's because most singers aren't fucking musicians, okay? They're just they're to sing songs. Fucking fucking vocal majors. You guys are the bane of my fucking existence.
Yeah, I think that in general at Berklee, the skill level is still really, really high. And especially, it's really weird being at a college where you have a bunch of like micro celebrities that have like 100,000 on Instagram and are playing gigs and all that shit.
Yeah, because like if you test into an instrument at Berklee, I think like just being a freshman there, like you're already better than like 98% of musicians in the United States, like including like people that perform. Or at least from the people that I knew that got it, like it was insanely competitive. Holy shit.
Absolutely. The instruments, I mean, you have to be playing for so long before you audition to get in on an instrument, which is really weird. But honestly, they're adding more and more things you can get into. You can start on laptop as your instrument and just do MP&E, which is musical production and engineering, and you don't even have to be able to play a physical instrument. You can just make a beat or do a live loop. Yeah, in Ableton or Logic. Okay. Mainly Berklee uses Logic, but yeah.
Okay, sure. That's not too bad. At least they're like trying to modernize a little. I support it.
Yeah, I think that they actually got a deal with Apple or something. You have to buy Logic with the Berklee package now. So
nice.
It's fucked up. Yeah, they don't even pay for it, including tuition, which is like $70,000 a year.
Jeez.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if you ever have any musical questions or anything like that, send them my way, and I can get you an answer for sure.
Musical questions. How much did you learn? When I want to. No, I can't think of anything. Fuck. Do you think you can sight sing now?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've taken 2 semesters of ear training, and then another 2 of a class called solfege. It's literally just sight singing and solfege.
Gotcha.
So I can sight sing now at this point.
Do they prefer fixed though, or is it relative?
Always relative.
Okay, gotcha. I've heard some people say
that
you can learn
they're still teaching figure bass.
Oh, sure. Well, yeah. I mean, that's like basic theory, right?
I mean, I feel like it's just so not practical for 90% of people that are going into Berklee. Berklee it's a jazz school, but it's super contemporary.
Wait, hold on.
If you want to go do classical,
if we say figured bass, are you talking like you're basically given a bass note and then a chord and then an inversion, and you're expected to be able to write out the chord?
Yeah, like it'll be like a C in second inversion. You have to write out like 1/6, like 1/6/4 if it's in second inversion. Okay. That kind of stuff. Is that similar to what you did?
Probably, yeah. Does this all fall under Schenkerian analysis, basically, or no?
I haven't heard that brought up once at Berklee.
Okay.
I saw it in the Adam Neely video, and that's it.
Oh, true. Gotcha.
I think they're moving away from some of the classical stuff just because there's been a big pushback since they've been trying to modernize and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like learning the classical stuff is cool. I just wish they would make it a little bit more contemporarily relevant. Because you spend a lot of time in theory over stuff that isn't really modern anymore at all, right? Like everything related to, like, it feels like all of music before like 1960 was basically about like how to approach and resolve a dominant 7. Like every single thing you learn is going to be some variation of that.
Yeah, and like, which is important for sure, but
well, kind of. I mean, contemporarily, that's absent from music. There are no dominant 7s in fucking pop music. Maybe if you listen to some metal, you'll get like these really like super ultra diminished 7 chords or whatever, but like not really, you know.
I think pop music has expanded a lot.
I don't know if that's the case. I feel like harmonically, most like really famous pop stuff is like fairly limited too in range. No.
I mean, you look at I think that Ariana Grande, pop artist who has some complicated stuff. I mean, obviously you look at like guys like Charlie Puth, but I think that's his shtick, is bringing that kind of stuff into pop music. Honestly, I don't know if I'd be able to speak on it. Pop music isn't as much of a thing at Berklee that we were sharing around. I watched your Zane Carney interview, and you were talking about how you had friends that would just like walk up with their laptop and show you whatever the coolest shit that they were looking at, and that is absolutely descriptive of Berklee. Is
that was
just like, people bring laptops and phones with music loaded up.
1 or 2 people in my school do that. It's pretty rare, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 1 or 2 people that wouldn't at Berklee. It's pretty rare to see somebody who's not geeking out about it, just because you have to pay so much to be there.
That's cool.
Well, hey, if I can scratch any more musical itches.
Yeah. Jesus, I don't know. I don't even know, dude. I don't know. No, I think we're good. Unless you can think of anything. Yeah, I think we're probably.
Oh, let me give my it's shit content, I know, but Adam Neely video, you watch 2 of them, and I've watched them like 3 times. It's huge content for the people who are interested in. Just pull up an Adam Neely video, react content. It's easy. Be like Hassan. I
we've done. I think we've watched most of them at this point. Yeah. But music theory time is really boring for my audience, so yeah.
I know it'll put everybody to sleep, but trust, I'll be watching. I'll comment too.
Okay. Well, hey, have fun. Be careful, okay, buddy?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, I love it. Good luck. Bye.
Yeah, bye. Neely video, you watch 2 of them, and I've watched them like 3 times. It's huge content for the people who are interested in. Just pull up an Adam Neely video, react content. It's easy. Be like Hassan.
We've done. I think we've watched most of them at this point. Yeah. But music theory time is really boring for my audience, so yeah.
I know it'll put everybody to sleep, but trust, I'll be watching. I'll comment too.
Okay. Well, hey, have fun. Be careful, okay, buddy?
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, I love it. Good luck. Bye.
Yeah, bye.